All right. Hello. It is a badass Truth Bomb Tuesday. Seriously, this is probably one of my favorite days of the week because I get to connect with my besties in the coaching world, and it is so much fun to just like let her rip on whatever's on our mind. It's good stuff. And last night, or a couple of days ago, actually, I heard this quote about how when the desire for your dream is big enough, the facts don't matter. And that one took me a little bit of time to kind of digest, like, what exactly does that mean? And then I heard another quote, like, on the heels of my digesting it. And it was really, you have to separate what's probable from what's possible. And that's when it struck me, is that probability piece is all about the facts. And the possibility piece is like that despite all odds, even against the facts. Like, for example, if you talk to somebody in the math world, right, they're going to tell you that theoretically a bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly because the fact is it has a huge body and these itty bitty wings. And like, the fact is it should not be able to fly based on the mathematics around it. And yet, despite the facts, that bumblebee doesn't know any different. And it makes me wonder, like, we are all bumblebees. And yet some of us choose to fly and some of us let the facts dictate what's possible for us. And so this has all just been like kicking around in my brain. And I was like, that's a freaking truth bomb. Like, we so many times in our lives allow the probable to dictate the possible, and we quit on our dreams based on what we have like brought on as facts, and we just quit. Well, the facts are, and I quit. And we're part of a community, like our healthy community is called Mission Possible, and it has almost 6,000 members at this point. And what I love about this specific healthy community is the fact that every single day somebody pops on and shares what is possible. And it really like bursts that bubble of the facts. Like, well, but I have all these facts, I have all these stories, and yet here's yet another story of what's possible, and their facts are the same as mine. So what the hell is my problem? Truth bomb. I would love to hear more about what you guys have to think about this, because I have so many ideas.
Oh yeah. What the heck is your problem? It's like what we always say, it's between our ears. We limit ourselves, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's the easy way to think about the probable and to, commute it, write it out and it all makes sense, and the bumblebee and all of that. I get that. And it takes faith. It takes a little bit of trust. It takes maybe reaching out to someone. Just like in our community, we're coaches. We health coach people. We help people change their lives and transform things where they don't think it's possible. And one of the key things that we tell people is, let your coach believe for you when you aren't there and you're not ready. And that's one of the things I think about. There's so many things that we just accept as fact. We accept as this is the way it is, whether it's family history or socioeconomic reality for you at the time. Whether it's, I don't know, just the things that we live in that we repeat. They just tend to get passed down, to our kids, our health habits and all of that. It is possible to break free and change, but we have to have a little bit of faith, and I think a little bit of trust sometimes in another person that maybe knows more, or that's a few steps ahead of us, or who's found some hope and some life to help break us free. And that's what I think of, because I've always been the queen of playing it safe, not wanting to fail, not wanting to want things so that I wouldn't be disappointed, just making it good, making where I am okay, even being 100 pounds overweight. And so it's okay. I have a lot of other good things. That's just the way I think it's like a survival mechanism, and we have to just break free from it. So I loved this concept when you said something about it too. I was like, yes, I'm right there. I'm really forcing myself to start thinking of what's possible. You know, I read something or heard something this week from Dr. Anderson. I heard it in a podcast, and he was saying, which he's the doctor that, founded our program. He's the co-founder of our coaching program. And he said something about, I'm not asking you to believe that this is going to work. I'm not, you don't have to believe it's possible. He says, just do it. Just link arms and do it with somebody, and that to me, I was like, oh, that's so good, because he's not telling you, well, you got to understand everything to do it. Just take that step, just have a little bit of faith.
Yeah. Take that leap of faith. And I think we've talked about this quote before, how faith and fear ask you to do the same thing. They ask you to believe in something that you don't know exists. And I freaking love that, because the fact is, a lot of us are scared to take that leap. A lot of us are scared to fail. A lot of us are even afraid of what success looks like. And there's, right? I mean, there's both ends of that. And, the fact is, I'm freaking scared. But the possibility is, if you choose to set your fear down and link elbows with your coach, the possible will become possible. I always say on my Facebook page, like, it's the place where impossible becomes I'm possible. It's where belief in yourself and your future and the possibility is born despite the probability. And Marcy, I know that your story totally speaks to this, because the probability, the facts of your situation before you started, literally, had you not decided to believe your coach and lean into her belief as to what was possible for you, you would be dead.
Yep. I mean, I literally told her that, for the entire week that I began my journey with her, I told her, I would tell her often, it's like, it's hard for me to believe. I can't see it being a reality for me, because I've tried things in the past. I've tried to do things to improve myself, and the reality was it wasn't the right fit or whatever, and it wouldn't work, or I would fail, and I would see that was my reason as to why I shouldn't believe in it. And I think we all do that to ourselves. It's like we are so used to the probability being next to 0% that we just don't give it a possibility. And I was that person. And so my lack of belief really was like a key changer for me, because through the action, through trusting someone who's done it before and was successful, I trusted her, even though I did not believe in it. I was like, well, she's done it, so she knows something I don't know. I'll give it that much faith, and literally it was trusting more than believing. And through the action came the belief, through the results came the belief. And I fully believe in it now.
That's amazing. I just love your story. And how much have you lost?
147.
147 pounds.
Beautiful.
But what have you gained?
Well, I've also lost 7 medications, including insulin and narcotic painkillers.
So you didn't lose medications, you gained freedom.
I gained freedom from medications. Yes. I've gained freedom to leave my house. I gained freedom to, I'm out. I can't talk right. I have 4 dogs that I just took to a park by myself. And these are dogs that can run 35 miles an hour.
Right.
And I can handle all 4 dogs at one time, which is amazing. I couldn't do that before. I can pick up my kids, which I couldn't do before. I've literally gained freedom to have life.
I love that. And I love what Donnie says. She is our fearless leader in Mission Possible. And she says, the name of this group is Mission Possible because we make possibilities come true. And people will sometimes say, oh, it's that Mission Impossible group. She's like, no. It's Mission Possible. And I love the question she asked. She said, because of this journey, what has become possible for you? Yeah. And for me, I had always had this hidden desire to quit my nursing profession and be home full-time in business. And I wanted to have a coaching business. I had invested a lot of time and a lot of money and was just like trying so hard on my own to create this business. Like I knew what was possible. I also knew that I was a single mama with a mortgage and a full-time nursing career. Like there were a lot of facts that made that possibility seem improbable. And I just knew like that desire inside of me was big enough that the facts didn't matter. I was like, I don't care how crazy y'all think I am. I don't care how insane you think this idea is. I don't care that you think I'm totally crapping on a bachelor's degree and a 17-year nursing career. Like, I don't care, because that desire for that possibility is what drove me. And I recognize that I'm a bit of a freak of nature, because most people won't hold on to that possibility. They will hold on to the facts and allow those facts to squash what is possible. And, you know, I also think of my current marriage. I mean, I met my husband on a quickie vacation to Florida. He's from Brazil. At that point in time, his documentation for being in the country legally had expired.
Oh, wow.
We were engaged after 1 month. We met one time in Florida. We were engaged in a month. He moved here, and a year later we were married, right? Like the facts of that situation had the people that cared the most about me raising some eyebrows. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, right? But the possibility of having a husband that fully loved and supported me and would step in and help guide my children and who would really partner with me in this life journey was so strong for me that I didn't care what the facts said. I didn't care. I was like, I know you care about me, and I think it's really sweet that you're concerned. And this is either going to be one of my life's glorious mistakes or one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Well, you guys know that, you know, Matt and I, we just celebrated 8 years on the 16th. And the funny thing is, though, we met online. Mm-hmm. This is my third marriage, his first. So the odds of us working out to begin with were against us. And everybody was telling me, it's like, Marcy, this is such a mistake. This is not a wise choice to be meeting a man online and then him moving down to live with you. Yeah. That was not something it was frowned upon, you know. And I had a child. She was 5 or 6 at the time we met. So a lot of the probable cause of that working was technically slim, you know. But what I found is that even though no one else really believed that we would last, I felt something there that I didn't feel before. Mm-hmm. And I trusted that process of not just meeting him, but like we dated long distance. Okay. He lived in Wisconsin. I lived in Florida. We were 1,300 miles apart. We dated online for a year, every day. We made time. And it's just, you know, like I tell my clients to this day, it's like, sometimes you just got to trust the process and let the results happen. And stop trying to fix it. Stop trying to change it. Stop trying to modify it. Just do the thing that you were prescribed to do. And it's kind of like with marriage. It's like, you know, I find that the more I try to meddle with how I want it to appear or how I want it to work, the more that it doesn't work. You know.
And when you hack your marriage, is that what you mean? Like you
hack your marriage, and marriage doesn't work as it needs to work.
Right.
Yeah. But the truth thing, that's for everything though. You know, every time we try to hack something, does it really work the way it's designed to?
Yeah.
It takes a probability and drops the percentage rate of success down a lot, exponentially. So.
Yeah. Well, Shonda, I know that you've experienced things on this health journey that you didn't necessarily think were possible when you started. Was there something specific that this journey kind of opened your eyes to that you didn't think was possible before you started?
Well, I would, let's think. What I what I think is the best thing that my eyes were opened up to is that I can learn about health. It doesn't have to be about weight. It doesn't have to be about a certain number on the scale or, size clothing that I wear, but that I could actually learn how to be healthy and make healthy choices. And it wasn't about like arriving somewhere. It's about the journey of learning and growing and always getting better. And I think that is probably the best thing that I've gained that I didn't know was possible. I didn't really have that example set for me in my family where anybody just like talked about health or, really strove after, a healthy lifestyle or anything. And so I just think that it's really awesome that I realized it doesn't have to be like some crisis weight issue or crisis, even health issue, even though I didn't have anything, I didn't have any diagnosis like, what Marcy shared that I was dealing with yet, but it was coming. If I didn't fix something, it was coming to be that overweight, So I think that's probably one of the things that I didn't know was possible, that I could actually learn about health and understand how my body, I mean, Shelly, my coach, she always laughs at me when she's like, oh, listen to you talking about blood sugar and cortisol, but like, I love knowing how those things work. And I mean, that's not a big deal to you, Nurse Jess, but, but that's the kind of thing I didn't know that I could gain. And I think that's awesome.
That's really cool. That's one thing I love the most about this journey is that like possibilities open up that you didn't even dream of, right? I had a dream to quit my job. Like that was a possibility that I strived after. And it took me on my own for 3.5 years and then switching to this model for 8 months before it became a reality.
Wow.
Right.
That's a big contrast.
Right. I mean, 3.5 years with one business model, it was a really expensive hobby and I had a lot of debt. To shift into this model to be set free in 8 months. And so like, it was just amazing. Like I didn't think that being set free in 8 months was a possibility. And then next thing I knew, I was there and it was happening. And now I'm like, what else is possible? And, I'm looking at other leaders in our community and the businesses that they're building, the lives that they're impacting and the income that they're creating and the way that they're using that income to then go and like do good in the world. And I had a conversation with my husband. I said, if that were us, what would we do? What would we do with that amount of money? Because my brain can't even fathom like having that amount of money coming in per month. What would we do with it? And he was like, we could open a no-kill dog rescue center. And I was like, OMG. Like I had no idea that was on his heart. But because it opens up the possibility, like what could we do with that? What good could we do with that? How would that change our lives? And in the process, how would that change the lives of the people that we're helping get healthy? Like, and the truth is like the facts of my life 10 years ago, 0 of these things that are on my plate right now were even possibilities that I thought of.
Do you see him? Love it.
Darting through. Speaking of possibilities, the possibility I never thought possible was, not just, what I mentioned before about, letting go of so many prison chains, but dog showing. Never thought owning my own business so I don't have to worry about going back to the hustle and hustle of the grind. And that was when I had been let go from my job for my health. And when I've always thought that when I was let go, okay, so we were in a really bad financial place, really bad. Paying for food with credit cards is not fun. So I could relate to Becca's story, but as far as, and then when we moved out here, I was like, oh, I'm going to go back to work, So once I started getting healthier, I was like, oh, great. So I'm getting healthy enough so that I can go back to work out of the house. What I found was as soon as that opportunity was presented to me, and I was like, oh, wait, like this could actually, this could actually work. Like this could be my career. I didn't ever think I would ever be a health coach. I don't think any of us grew up dreaming of being a health coach. I had never heard about health coaching until 6 months prior to my journey. So, but now I know that I don't have to worry about going back to 9 and 5 jobs. I love running my business. Like, it is the thing that wakes me up every day besides my kids. In fact, while we were at the dog park, I was able to work my business at the park with my friends present because I was checking in with the client and we were celebrating. And I was like, this isn't work.
This is
Work is
amazing.
when you dread going in and dread doing what you get paid for. This ain't work.
Right? So Eddie reached out the other day. Actually, I think it was this morning. He said, did you realize that your business has essentially tripled in the last 6 to 8 months and you officially have like a $500,000 business? And I was like, what? I was like, well, when you put it that way, it sounds kind of cool.
Really cool.
And
Right.
really, truly, like,
I don't think it's a side gig anymore.
yeah, it's definitely not a side gig anymore. And the best part, my response to him was, seriously, when you put it that way, it sounds pretty amazing, first of all. And second of all, the best part about it was that I had no idea that that's what was happening with my business. I'm just loving people. And all of a sudden it's like, I'm like, that's amazing.
It's fun to get paid for what you love. And
Really, like, having a $500,000 business was not something that I ever thought consciously about. Like,
right.
Okay, so what's next? Now what's
And
possible?
What's next?
I know so many business entrepreneurs who are setting out trying to grow this crazy business like what we are growing.
Yeah.
And several years down the road, they haven't made any progress, or they haven't made as much progress as we have in much less time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe there's a different avenue and you just haven't found it yet. Maybe that's not the avenue you need to be on.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've kept you guys on for a while. We had a lot to say about this subject and it's so fun. We could probably talk for hours more.
Time's up,
But here's what I want to say. Here's how I want to wrap up today, you guys. Like, every single one of you is a bumblebee with a possibility of flying. And what does that look like for you? What does flying look like for you, despite the fact that you have a huge body and itty bitty wings? What does flying look like for you? Because I want to encourage you to stop letting the facts dictate your possibilities and start getting into action, into making those possibilities a reality. Because truly, if you let those possibilities sit in your heart and wither, you are going to end your life. At the end of your life, you're going to look back and say, I wish I had. And don't let today be the day that you hear us and allow that wish to be dictated by the facts. Because truly, when the desire is big enough, the facts don't matter. And it is possible. And if there's something that's burning on your heart, a possibility, whether it's in your mental health, your physical health, your financial health, your relationships, your career, whatever that looks like for you, let me just encourage you to reach out to one of us, because we know what is possible and we know how to get there. Because it's like Marcy said, when you follow the system works. And we are testaments to
your wings.
Exactly. You have wings, just flap them. It's okay. Yes. So don't let your possibilities be dictated by your probabilities, and just know that, like, we are a place where you hear stories every day of the impossible becoming I'm possible, and we would love to invite you to be a part of that. So much love. Until next week.